I wish that I had known then what I know now. I mean, about a life that's interrupted. You see, my life was going to be music. I mean, literally. I thought that I would be involved in music somehow, and that was my ambition, my goal, my plan when I was a teenager, and I strove for that in everything that I did. I even auditioned for some nationally known singing groups, and they asked me to come on board. But I was given some wise counsel that maybe I should wait and just be patient and finish school first, and that's exactly what I did. But when all the obstacles cleared away, those opportunities that had been so readily available for me, they had now all passed. And I was mad. And I thought God didn't know what he was doing. And all this time I was dating a young guy, great Christian guy. Those first romantic and sweet promises of marriage were on the table. We were talking about building a life together. I was into him, totally. But that relationship ended, and I felt like I would never be able to emotionally recover from that devastation. And I even prayed and begged God to restore that relationship. But do you know, more now than anything, I thank God for unanswered prayers. Several years after I did get married, my husband and I found out that we were pregnant with our first baby, and it was unexpected. It was a surprise, but we were excited about it, and we were just settling into the idea and getting used to it when I discovered that I was having a miscarriage. And we were so sad, frustrated with life, frustrated with God. It was a life interruption. We were so disappointed, and we were worried. We were worried because what did this mean for us? Would it mean that I would never be able to have children? Was there something wrong? Were we not going to be able to have the family that we had always dreamed of? Well, that wouldn't be the case, because shortly thereafter, Jackson Von Shirer came to be a part of our lives, our first son. And then Jerry Shirer Jr. came shortly after. Two wonderful boys, and they were rounding the corner from their toddler years into their school-age years. We sold the crib and gave away all the baby toys, and we were ready to move on. The pacifiers were out of the house just as I was to discover there was another baby on the way. Jude Maddox Shirer, our surprise baby. Definitely a gift, but you do know that God's gifts require lifestyle modifications. Oh, I know you know how this feels. When you've set out one path for yourself and you've been headed in that direction, and then all of a sudden God throws a doozy in there, something that just kind of knocks you off your guard for just a moment. You've got to get your footing and find your bearings again. I know exactly how that feels. And so maybe for you, here in your retirement years, you thought your nest egg would be more solid than it is in this current economy. Or it's that child that you've invested so much in, but now as a young adult, they've decided to live in a way that is shocking to you. Or maybe it's that you thought that when you signed up to be a follower of Jesus Christ, it would mean marriage by now, and yet you're still single. Or maybe you were married and thought following Christ and yielding to him in the season of life of marriage would mean a lifelong relationship, and yet your spouse has chosen to bail out on you. How will we respond when life interrupts? When God's will is different than what we originally intended? Because you see, if I had gone into music, I would have missed out on the real ministry God had planned for me. Had I married that first guy, I would have missed out on my husband, Jerry Shirer, a man who is uniquely gifted, not just for me and for our boys, but for the ministry that God has for both of us. How I wish I had known then what God is just helping me now to begin to discover. And I wonder if you know exactly how I feel. Well, I know how you feel, and so does the prophet Jonah. Because you see, he was settled and satisfied with the life that he had always known as a prophet to the nation of Israel. He was cozy and comfortable working among the people that he loved. And he would have left it just that way had a word not come from the Lord, interrupting his path and derailing him onto another course of life. And he did not like it, just like you and I don't like it. In the story of Jonah, we figure out how to yield to a life interrupted. In fact, how to see it with brand new perspective, to see that life interruptions are the springboard for the best that God has to offer us. They're not really life interruptions, they're divine interventions. So I'm inviting you to join me for a look at navigating a life interrupted. The ups, the downs, the hills, the valleys, and how if we'll just yield to him, we can expect supernatural results, even when life is tough. We can expect supernatural results that will blow our minds. Jonah saw it happen, and we'll see it happen too.